Good evening, everybody. My name is Jen, the Caffeinated Crafter. Today is Thursday, December the 12th, 2024. It is also my son's birthday. He turns 12 today. He turns 12 on 12/12 because he was born on 12/12/12. That was planned. It was a planned C-section. But yeah, so today's my baby's birthday. He's with his dad today, but I did pop over and say hi and wish him a happy birthday. And then I'm going to take him out to dinner on Saturday. I think he wants to go to the all-you-can-eat sushi place that my kids love. But anyway, this is Flosstube number 101. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I talk about all the cross stitch. I have all the plans. I keep changing plans or adjusting my plans now. I'm kind of sticking to the same plans now. But I kicked off my 2025 plans early because I posted my whip parade last weekend. So if you haven't watched that, go check it out. But I will warn you, it is 4 parts and it is 5 hours long. So you might have to watch it in pieces. Let's see. I also posted a video showing you guys which projects I was starting the 2025 plans off with, and I posted an addendum to Flosstube number 100 showing you which projects I was going to work on for the week. And I posted a video for a Help Me Choose video. I will link the Help Me Choose video in the description box down below in case you missed it, because I did post like 8 videos last weekend, so it might have gotten lost in the mix. I know a lot of you guys saw it because a lot of you have been voting, but basically the Help Me Choose video, I do temperature stitching, and I decided to take on highs and lows for 2025. I'm picking the high temperature whips. You guys get to vote on the low temperature whips. So the Help Me Choose video is what you guys, you have basically 20 whips to vote between. It's 2 whips per temperature 0 through 9. I'll go over the temperature stuff later when I show the temperature whips, but you guys vote between 2 whips for each temperature. And a lot of you guys have voted already. I forgot how much you guys like voting for stuff. I've been getting a barrage of comments for the voting. It's fine, but holy cow. And I think some of you are voting for a particular project because you said it'll either be finished or close to a finish with this round of temperature stitching. I don't know about that. I really don't. I don't think it's as close to a finish as you guys think it's close to a finish. I could be wrong. I've been wrong on how close something is to a finish before. That's kind of my thing apparently. But yeah, so we'll see how all that goes. Voting is still open and for 1 more week. Again, today's the 12th. Voting closes on December the 19th. And I will be posting a Flosstube on December the 20th. I hope I got those dates right. Let me look at my calendar, make sure I got the dates right. Yes, voting closes on December the 19th. I will be posting my next regular Flosstube. Well, I'll be recording it. It'll probably post overnight because they're always like hours long. But I'll be recording my next Flosstube on December the 20th. And I will be showing you guys which of the whips were the winners. I do have a plan for the whips that do not win the vote. They will come into play later. I will go over that in the next Flosstube. So if you voted for something and it didn't end up winning, it's okay. It'll come into play at a later date. So let's go over all of the stitching that I did get to do. I did not start stitching until Sunday night with all the recording that I had to do because I did Flosstube, I did the Help Me Choose, I did the addendum to the, well, first I recorded the whip parade, and then after that was when I recorded all the other stuff, but I posted the other stuff before I posted the whip parade. Like 4 videos for the whip parade, a Flosstube, Help Me Choose, which whips I was starting the year off with. I did not do an end of November update after everything else I had done. I was like, there's no way I can like get all this math and pull all these projects out. It was going to be too much. So I did not do an end of month update. I do apologize for those that like to watch that. I will be doing one for December, but it's only going to be December from when I started my plans to the end of December. But yeah, there was a lot going on. So I did not start stitching until Sunday night. I didn't stitch Friday or Saturday, and I didn't stitch during the day on Sunday until probably close to dinner time. So basically 4 nights of stitching is what I got, because it was Sunday night and then I went back to work Monday. But on that note, here's my board. As you can see, I did get a lot done. Not everything I wanted to get done, but I did get a lot done. I'm not caught up on my Whip of Shame. I did not get caught up on that. I was more focused on getting the other stuff done because I knew that I could get some extra stitching done on the Whip of Shame this weekend. So I'm not worried about hitting my goal for it. I know I'll be able to hit it. So that was kind of like on the back burner. I'll work on that this weekend. I did get to work on all the weekly pieces a little bit here and there. And I got all the Monopoly and all the temperature stitching done. What kind of fell by the wayside was my bake-off stitching. I did not get to work on the technical stitches, and I only got a small amount in, well, 600 stitches, but a small amount in on my main piece for it, because it was going to be a lot anyway, so I figured I'll just carry this stuff over into next week. So, not bad for 4 nights of stitching. I will say that. All right, where do I want to put this? I'm trying to not mess up my tracking boards. So let me do this. Let me move this bag out of the way. And I'll put this board here. That way I'm not straight, like craning my neck to look at stuff. I did not plan this very well at all, like my setup. I really didn't. Let's go over, what's this pile here? Let's go over Monopoly stitching first, because I have my little paper right here of where all the pieces landed. Okay, so we kicked off a new game of Monopoly last Flosstube, well, the addendum, and I had all new whips for Monopoly, and I have all new rules for it. I'll go over that when we play a new round of Monopoly, but I'm playing with 4 tokens. It's the first time around the board. The house rules when we play Monopoly at my house is that nobody can purchase properties the first time around the board, not until you pass go. So I'm kind of doing that with my whips. No tokens can purchase properties until they pass go. So if whatever they land on will be 100 stitches. The cat started off the game by rolling doubles and landed on Oriental Avenue, which is Christmas Reindeer. And so this piece is by MP Studio. It's a Russian kit that I picked up. I got it on Etsy. I want to say Charting Creations also has this kit. So if you're interested in it, HB-680 is the kit number. And I'm calling it Christmas Reindeer. I don't remember what they call it, but that's what he's going to look like. She's going to look like. I think it's a she. I mean, she's got pearls. It's a she. She's got pearls and ornaments hanging down. Like, she's very fancy reindeer. So she got 100 stitches on her. And I decided I'm doing everything that came in the kit. Looks like it might be a 16, maybe an 18 count Aida. And I'm using the floss that came in the kit. And I decided to come down and start working towards the head, like I thought I was going to do when I showed it last week. And so I ended up actually, instead of going down the head, I ended up coming up and working in the ear and getting her ear started. So this is from when I was working in the antler last year, or the year before, whenever I worked on it last. But I did my 100 stitches in her ear right here, which you would have seen from the before photo. And that's where she's at. That's all I have to say. So the cat had rolled doubles and an oriental, rolled again, and it ended up landing on community chest on side 2. I don't remember what the card said, but the card, I like what I had written on the card, but it did say to do 100 stitches on the Pacific Avenue property. So that one is Halloween letters. And this is by Primrose Cottage Stitches. Always have a problem saying that. Designed by Lindsay Waite, and this is what it's going to look like when it's done. I am doing this on a 14 count Aida. I want to say it's dirty Aida. It's either dirty or it's milk chocolate. I think it might be milk chocolate. I always forget. Because I went through this slew where I ordered both colors because I like the way that that some of the colors pop on like kind of the brown fabric. And I don't remember which one this was. But I got 100 stitches in on it. And this is where I'm at with it now. So I finished the purple in the block here. And I finished the witch's hat. Let me just stand up so I can see this better. So I finished the purple in the block here. I finished the witch's hat here. I think it was just to fill in the green right there. And yeah, because then I carried the green. I kept the green on my needle and I did the green in all the candies that are between the candy corns. And then I started in on the black. That's gonna fill in the, you can kind of see right there. So on this line, all that's left is to do the black in the candies here, and then I think do the white for the rest of the word treats. And I believe this line will be done, and then I will move up to this line that's above Witch's Brew. I am using mostly called for stuff. The black, I'm just using 310. The white, I am using B5200. And the ghost, like this little guy right here, he is in glow in the dark thread. So, and it does work. He actually does glow in the dark. It's really cute. But that's where I'm at with that one. So that was the cat. And then it was the dog's turn, and the dog landed on St. Charles Place. I'm trying to keep my tablet handy because I feel like I'm going to need it in a minute. I do. Okay. St. Charles Place is, St. Charles Place is the sewing desk. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is by Amy Stewart. Hold on, I'll show it again in a second. It's 525 by 375, regular size and regular colors. So this has 87 colors in it. And this got 100 stitches on it for being first timer on the board. As the game progresses, these pieces will get more stitches, like for purchasing and for rent, so have no fear. Hang on, there we go. Okay, so I'll show you where it worked first. So I got, because I think the picture you're going to see is the whole thing, but I worked up here in the top. Oh my God. I'm doing this on a 25 count. I don't know when I'm going to put the photo up. I'm doing this on a 25 count easy count Lugana. I might end up doing the photo twice because of what I'm doing here. And I'm doing it 2/1/10 stitch. And this is the whole thing here. But my 100 stitches, I ended up putting right up here. So I think what I was going to do was do a diagonal going all the way down, but then I changed my mind and I decided I just want to maybe try to start working across the top. So I got my 100 stitches up here, and I think my before photo is going to be the entire thing. But I would say 2/1/10 stitch on a 25 count easy count Lugana, There we go. And I am currently sitting at 9,795 stitches completed out of 196,875, and I am at 4.98% complete. I keep changing what I'm doing on this when I work on it. I can't commit to anything. But yeah, I decided for this one I wanted to start kind of working across the top, I guess, is what so I was working in some part threads and filling in the 10 by 10 square that was up there. Okay, so after the dog, it was the duck and the penguin. They each rolled 3. So they both landed on the same piece. And so Baltic Avenue is Spring in the Village by Stony Creek Collection, and that is what it's going to look like when it's done. So this piece ended up getting to have 200 stitches put in on it, and I'm doing this with called for DMC, and there's like a fancy, what is it? Karen Water Lilies? Oh, I can just look at the stupid pattern. Duh. There's a fancy something. What is it? Yeah, Karen Water Lilies and guacamole. I don't have that. I have it. I just haven't used it yet because it goes in the border at the bottom. But using the call for DMC, and I'm doing it 2/2 on a 28 count even weave in the color Bone. No idea who dyed it. I bought it a couple years ago. And this is where I'm at with it now. So I filled in the sides right here. I think one side had the white in it already, or the ecru I think it is, and it just had like a few stitches above that, and then so I did that, and then I also did the other side, and I did all the red that was missing in this part of the roof. I got one of the 2 colors in the shingles completed, and I did all the white that was up here, and I got 1 window filled in. So next time this gets pulled out, I will continue finishing off, because I still have to do the roof up here, shingles, fill in the windows, and then there's a chimney that goes up there. So I'll keep working on this next time it comes out, on this building. This is the antique shop, I think. Yes, this is the antique shop. I'm debating on, because there's stuff that goes on either side of it, and I do kind of want to do the back stitching as I go with this. So I'm debating on maybe once I get all the cross stitching done on it, I was kind of thinking maybe I would do the back stitching of the interior, where like not along the edge, but anywhere that there's not stitching next to it, I would go ahead and do the back stitching for that before I move on to something else. I don't know, we'll see. So that was all of my Monopoly stitching. The temperature stitching. Where did I put that? Here it is. So my temperature stitching, I have 10 projects assigned to 0 through 9. And what I've been doing is I would look at the projected highs. It doesn't matter if you do the projected temperatures, the actual temperatures from the previous day. You could use temperatures from like 1984. It doesn't really matter. But whatever temperature you're using, I take the last digit of the temperature. So if it's 84 degrees for a high, I take the whip that's assigned to the number 4 and I put 100 stitches on it. Some people will work on a piece for 30 minutes. I believe Stitching Mommy is doing 30 minutes on her piece, her temperature pieces. I count my stitches for Facebook games, and I like to track how much stitching I get done. Well, I try to track it. So I do a stitch count. So I do 100 stitches on the piece, and I do projected, so I see what's coming up, and I know what to stitch on. So for starting from, when I did my addendum to show what whips I was going to be working on, I did Sunday through today. So today's stitching technically is already done for the temperature. But just a quick recap, starting with December the 8th, the highs were projected to be 76, 81, 84, 75, and 64. We had a bit of a drop, and it was freezing cold last night. It was in the 30s. I was so cold. But that meant that I had 1, 2, 3, 4. I can just look at my board. I'm sitting here counting the temperatures. I can just look at my board. I had 4 whips to work on for temperature stitching. So the one that was assigned to the 1 is Artist Kitchen. And like for 2024 stitching, I know we're still in it, but I started my plans early. 2024 stitching, I only did non-full coverage pieces. This year, I was like, I need a plan to get my full coverages back in the mix. So I'm doing full coverages across the board. It doesn't matter if it's temperature, if it's Monopoly, if it's like whatever, because I have a plan for my full coverage pulls for my weekly stitching. So Artist Kitchen is assigned to the number 1. So this is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is 450 by 406. I got the max color version. So this has 206 colors. Artwork is by Jacek Jurka. I know I'm mispronouncing that first name. I forget how to say it. But that's what it's going to look like when it's done. And so since this came up once, I did 100 stitches on it. And I'm doing it with the call for DMC on a 20 count Aida 2/1 full cross. It's a lot of fabric, bear with me. Should probably fold this up better so it's easier to find the actual stitching when I pull it out. So this is where I'm at with it now. I decided to start working all the parked threads in that I had here. So I was working mainly over here, working the parked threads in. And then I recalled something. I was having flashbacks because some of the threads were like kind of starting to come up this way. And I was having flashbacks to when I worked on this. I didn't work on it in 2024, so it must have been 2023. And I remembered something that I was supposed to do on this that I have not done yet. I had it fixed in Pattern Keeper. I did not fix it on the fabric. This part here is the window. What's it called? Like the frame? It's in the wrong spot. It is supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be over this way more. It's like, hang on, where's the frame at? I believe that this is 4 stitches too far to the right. So I don't know how I missed it, but it should be closer here to this. So I had it fixed in Pattern Keeper. I do remember saying that now. I fixed it in Pattern Keeper because my goal was to get this to 1% in 2023. And so what I did was I frogged all the stitches in Pattern Keeper that involved the frame. And then I continued stitching until I hit a true 1%. But I had said, I just need to actually frog this and I'll do it later. Well, it's later and I still haven't done it. So I'm going to keep this out. I don't know if its temperature is going to come up yet. I haven't looked. But this weekend, I'm going to work on pulling this frame out. Which is kind of annoying because it's a few hundred stitches. But it's whatever. Shit happens. But yeah, so I did my 100 stitches and I was working in the park threads. And I think what I'll end up doing is once I'm going to keep working these park threads in all here, but not like not the ones that are like this, that are like really far away, because it's on a non-gridded fabric, and my counting skills, as you can see from the frame that has to be ripped out, are very poor. I swear I'm a college graduate, I promise, but apparently I can't count. But I now have 1,918 stitches done, not counting this, because I took this out in Pattern Keeper already, out of 182,696, and I am at 1.05%. Again, not counting this. So, yay, but that's annoying that I have to do that. Oh, Jennifer, why didn't you do that before? So I'll try to work on that this weekend, because I can't go up until I fix it. I mean, I have plenty of stuff to work on under it, but still. So there's that. So that was one. And then for 4, 4 came up twice for 84 and 64. And that is my Harry Potter Stitch Your Own Adventure from Cunning Cross Stitch. I only have a mock-up. Oh, hang on. Oh, I need that color. I only have a mock-up of the parchment outlines because this is a Choose Your Own Adventure. This pattern is no longer available, but he does have a Middle Earth version of a Stitch Your Own Adventure going on right now. It is free, so if you like Lord of the Rings, I'm not really a big fan of it, so I didn't do it. But if you like Lord of the Rings, you can go check it out. But this is the Harry Potter one that he put out like 2020, I think it was. And so I'm doing it 3 times, one for myself, one for each of my kids. My temperature stitching is the one for my younger son. And so, because his temperature came up twice, this piece got 200 stitches. I picked his to be the one to work on for the temperatures because his had the least amount of progress. Oh, my poor baby. All the stitching I do for my kids, and I'm like focusing on all the stuff for my older son. I'm like, my poor little one. I mean, he's not little, but. So my 200 stitches I put into his, so this is chapter 1, and his house flag goes in here, and he is in the Slytherin house. So the Stitch Your Own Adventure, I think at some point I will, maybe as I get closer to finishing, I don't know, at some point I thought it would be neat to read the letter, because you're a student at Hogwarts and you pick for each chapter, which is the parchments, for each parchment, you're writing a letter home to your parents, you're telling them about your adventures and everything like that. And then like for this, you were getting sorted into your house. And so I thought it would be neat to read the letter at some point. I just don't know when I should do it. Like if I should do it when I'm starting the chapter, or some point in the middle, or when the chapter is completed. Because I would end up reading it 3 times, because I'm doing this 3 times, like for 3 different people. So I don't know if it should be when the chapter is completed or when it started, or maybe both, because it's going to take forever. I don't know. You guys let me know. If you guys want to hear the letter like soon, go ahead and let me know. I can go ahead and like pull it up on my computer and read it out. But to be sorted into the houses, you had elements to pick from: earth, fire, air, and water. And then whichever element you picked, that's the house that you were sorted into. I did cheat a little bit because you could either pick an element. I know the element was for the Quidditch game. I don't remember what it was now, because I kind of cheated with the house flag, and I let them know, I let them pick which house they wanted to be sorted into, because when they did I think you had to take a quiz on, like there's quizzes online to see which house you get put into. And when I did the quiz for both of them, this was a couple years ago, so I'm curious if that would have changed. They were both sorted into Hufflepuff, and neither one of them wanted to be in Hufflepuff. Lachlan, my little one, he wanted to be in Slytherin, and my older one, Peyton, he wanted to be in Gryffindor. When I did the quiz, I was put into Ravenclaw. I haven't really posted in a while, but I play the Harry Potter cross-stitch game on Facebook, and I'm in the Slytherin house on the Facebook game. So I'm like, Ravenclaw, Slytherin, which flag do I do? But Lachlan wanted to be in Slytherin, so I'm doing the Slytherin flag for him. So that was that. So I'll probably keep doing the Slytherin flag, or I will, depending on when it comes up, and because they both play Roblox on my computer. So if it's my time, oh my God, if I need to stitch on it and they're on my computer, I'm not going to kick them off, because I keep the patterns on my computer because they're like a lot of pages to print everything out. So I just look on my computer and stitch from it. So I will just do the parchment outlines if I'm letting them use the computer when I want to work on it. Because I do have the parchment outlines printed. So all that for a whole lot of nothing. Saying a lot of nothing. I'm just taking up space. I'm taking up airtime. Okay. Oh, that's not my next one. So then the next one was for temperature number 5. And that one is White Tiger Ghost. And it is charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. Artwork is by Jeremy Paul, I think. Let me double check that. Yes, Jeremy Paul. It's a crop of a larger piece. It's 300 by 300. It has 59 colors. That is what it's going to look like. That's what he's going to look like when he's done. Boop. His eyes. Look how blue his eyes are. I am so excited to get to his eyes. He's going to look so good. So his temperature came up once, so he got 100 stitches on him. I'm doing it with the Call for DMC on a 14 count Aida, 2 strands, full cross. Would I have liked to do this on a smaller count? Sure, but I had the Aida and the pattern fit on it, so I said, why not? So that's where I'm at with it now. I did my 100 stitches up here, filling this area in. And I know I've been converting a lot of my full coverages to diagonals. I did not do that with this one. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it, but for right now, it's not going to go into diagonals. I am now sitting at 4,600 stitches completed out of 90,000, and I am at 5.11%. That is where he is. I really like it too because, let me just show you again real quick. I think I pointed out in my whip parade, but you can see his little eyelashes. I think at one point I called them eye whiskers, but you can kind of see like his eyelashes right there. It's kind of cool. All right. And then the last temperature piece was for the temperature of 76. So the 6 is what I used to figure out what whip I was working on. And that one is Mother Nature Spring. This is from the Just Cross Stitch magazine, April of 2023. I am going to do all of the Mother Nature pieces. This is Mother Nature Spring, and that is what she is going to look like when she is done. She's so pretty. I love her pink hair. And so I'm doing this with the Called For DMC on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco, 2/2. And that is where I'm at with her now. So I worked mainly in her hair, and up here I was kind of like filling in some of her hair, and then I decided, because I was working my way up to the top, and the kind of lighter color at the top there, that is the flowers that are in her hair up here. So I think it's like, I started in the middle and then I kind of worked my way up. So yeah. So that's where she is. So that was all of my temperature stitching. All right. Let's move on to my weekly stitching. So for my week, what I call my weekly stitching, I do have a focus piece that I'm trying to get done as soon as possible, but I'm not stressing it. It's for my son. I started it in August. It was kind of put on the back burner for a little bit, but I'm trying to work on it every week until it gets done. There was a few weeks I didn't work on it at all, but I do try to, at this point, make a point to work on it every week. And it is Yippee-Ki-Yay Motherfucker by Stitchman Darcy. It's a quote from Die Hard. It is 191 by 79, not very big. And it's got, I don't know how many colors it has. Not very many though. But my son saw, I was watching Darcy's Flosstube, like, I don't know, a couple years ago. And my son was sitting there watching him with me. And he saw Darcy show the pattern he had made. And he was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Because he likes the movie Die Hard. And so he said, will you get it and stitch it for me? And I said, sure. So, my goal is to finish this. There is some back stitching, so when I give you the percentage completed, it will only be for cross stitching. There will still be back stitching to do, but I am trying to do the back stitching as I go with it, so I do have some of the back stitching done. But this is where I'm at with it now. I got 300 stitches on this, and I did all cross stitching. So I was trying to see, because I'm trying to be strategic with this, because what I'm trying to avoid is I don't want to end up with all back stitching in the end, because then I'm going to get irritated and I'm going to throw it aside. So what I was trying to do is I was trying to get it worked out to where I knew where this part of the black border goes. So I filled in this, and then I decided to do stuttering over here. I did the bottom part of this block here, so I knew where it ended, and then I did the bottom part of this block here and kind of went up the side to finish the thread, so I knew where this block ended, and then I knew where to put this one. But this way, when I work on this again, I'll know I can do a strand of the black, and I'll know how far out to go before I go up with it. Because what I'd like to do is I'd like to get that part of the border done so I can keep going on these red and green triangles all the way around, because those are backstitched. You can see the difference between these ones are backstitched and these ones aren't. I got the words up here done, so I just have these two letters here, the border, a few more snowflakes, and the Christmas tree, like this side is going to match this side, and then I got to do the leaves and stuff over here at this end, and then of course finish the back stitching on it. But I got 300 stitches completed on it, and I am currently sitting cross stitching, no back stitching counted in this part. I'm sitting at 4,946 stitches completed out of 6,661. I am at 74.25%. So I will continue to work on this week. I might do a combination of cross stitching and back stitching. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be a surprise for everybody, even myself. But yeah, so I got 300 stitches on Yippee-Ki-Yay. And then what I do for my weekly pulls is I pull a full coverage and a non-full coverage piece and a new start. And so I rotate. So what I plan on doing is each week I'm going to pull a new start out of my bin of whips that are ready to be started. I may not have them fully kitted up, but I do have stuff I need to get started. I have the fabric, obviously, and the pattern. And then even if it's like a mixture of DMC and fancy floss, I have the DMC so I can at least get it going. So I pull a new whip every week until I hit 5. Once I hit 5, I rotate through those 5 until they get 3,000 stitches on them. That's my plan. That's what I was doing last year, and I decided to keep going with it. So my new start for the week was this little Friends frame that I think my mom picked up for me for like $1.74. It's like less than $2. You can't beat that. But that was my new start for the week. And I knew because I was going to have limited stitching time, I decided to bring it into work and work on it for like maybe 10-15 minutes a day during my lunch break. I did not get to work on it today, but that's where I got to with it. So it's a stamped pattern. Not gonna lie, so it's not that dark in person, really. I think it's the lighting. Not really sure how I feel about this orange. It shows up a little bit lighter when I hold it back here. It gets darker as it gets closer. Not really sure how I feel about the orange. It's very, very bright. Does it bother me? Enough to say something, to mention it, not enough to not work on it. It was less than $2 for this entire kit. This hoop, I normally don't use hoops, but this hoop was included with it. The floss was included. It's a printed pattern, so as soon as I'm done stitching, I can just kind of like pull this all together like this, lace it up around the back, and this thing's done. And it would be an FFO. So it doesn't really bother me. One thing I think I am gonna have to do though is the print is slightly off on the Ada. And I was realizing that when I was trying to look at the colors, and then I compared it to this, and my colors weren't matching up where it was going on here. And so I've been looking on here because it is kind of blocked out. I don't know if you, hang on, I can't see from that side. I don't know if you can really see it very well, but these are kind of gridded out on here. So you can look at them and you can count how many, it's not just a solid orange or yellow line. Like you can count how many squares they are. So when I started doing that, I was realizing that the print on the pattern is off. And so the print goes outside of the stitching a bit. So I don't know if I am going to end up doing an additional color around the frame. Not necessarily black, but maybe like an additional border around the frame to cover up the print. We'll have to see what happens when I get done with it, how I feel about how it looks. Because this bottom here where the yellow is poking out, that's the edge of the pattern. Like there's no stitching that goes right there. That's how off it is. Oh wait, yes, wait. No, yes there is. Never mind. But anyway, we'll see how it looks once I get done. If the printing is showing too much outside of the stitching, if I have to do an additional border or not. I didn't really count my stitches because I was trying to work as quickly as possible because it was during my lunch break. I'm estimating, I think it's more than this, but I'm estimating maybe about 100 stitches. That's what I'm going to count for right now. Because again, I didn't count my stitches. So yeah, but that's where I'm at with it. So we'll count 100 for when I do my goals or update my boards. But yeah, so, I mean, that thing will get finished before it hits the 3,000 stitch goal, but it'll still be fun to watch those numbers go down. And then for the non-full coverage whips, I have 5 that I'll be pulling one from a basket every week. I'm just going to cycle through them. And my goal is to get 4,000 stitches on them. Once they hit 4,000, I will replace them with something else. If the piece gets its 4,000 stitches and it is close to, it looks like if the piece hits the 4,000 stitches and it looks like there's a few thousand stitches left, I will likely put it into temperature stitching. to get an additional 2,000 to maybe finish it or get it closer to a finish. If I get the 4,000 stitches and it is really, really close to being done, it will go in to be a technical stitch piece for Bake Off. And I will go over the Bake Off stitching in a bit. But my non-full coverage for the week is Coffee Gnome, and this is by cutebroidery.com. She has the cutest little gnome pieces. I have a few of them. I love these little gnomes. But I'm doing this with a call for DMC on a 14 count Aida. Didn't really have a color. It was a roll I picked up at Joann's, but it looks kind of like chocolate milk without enough of the chocolate. Like you didn't quite put enough chocolate in it. It's kind of like this light brown color, like light brown gray color. But she got 200 stitches on her, and I was focused like kind of down here. I got all of the brown in here and I kind of started carrying it across, but then I started filling in, go away. I started filling in the gray that's right here. It's her braid. There is some, I was debating on trying to backstitch the coffee mug here. So at least we would get some detail in it, plus I wouldn't have to do it later. But there actually is some stitches that are kind of missing right along here on the edge. And plus I still have to do the braid in order for me to backstitch the entire mug, so I held off on it. I'm thinking when this gets pulled out again, I will probably work on the cross stitching that is surrounding the mug, like anywhere that's touching the mug, so that maybe I can also start working on the back stitching for the mug and get it done. And get the back stitching done, so at least it's like, you know, something. But then honestly, I'm probably going to, instead of continuing in this, I'm probably going to come up here where the hat is and start working on the hat, because that is a lot of like just a few colors, and I will get bored with that very quickly. So that's my plan. My plan is to get the cross stitching done around the mug so I can back stitch the mug, and then go up to the hat and maybe work on the hat, a combination, alternate between the hat and the gnome, like down here. So that got 200 stitches. And then the non-full coverage pull, I have a total right now of 18 full coverage pieces that are less than 1%. So I listed them all out. I just went through Pattern Keeper and I saw which ones were less than 18%. 18%. I saw which ones were less than 1%. Almost said 1,000 stitches. And I listed them all out, and then I just looked at the names and I just picked 5. I just picked 5. Ones that I was like, yeah, I think I want to work on that one. I want to work on that one. And then after I picked them, I did the math to find out how many stitches were needed to get it to 1%, so I know what I'm shooting for the stitch count. So the one that I picked, so I'm rotating through those 5, and once one of them hits 1%, it will come out of that rotation. I will replace it with another one from my list. Somebody had mentioned, why don't you do all of the math and work on the ones that have higher stitch counts first, or even the 5 that I have picked from. Just work on the one until it drops below. I was like, it'll be too much for one project for me. Like I can't do that. I'll get tired of it and I'll put it aside. That's why I have so many whips, because I get tired of them, I put them away. So the one I drew out of my basket last week was Winter Cookie Party by Amy Stewart, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I got the max color version. It is 700 by 501. It has 240 colors. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. I started this with Alara on my birthday, and I really love it because I bake Christmas cookies with my mom every year, and we make a lot of cookies. Like, we're doing our Christmas cookie bake, not this coming weekend, but next weekend. And I've already got all my cookie recipes planned out, what I want to do. I'm going to have to bake, I'm going to have to put together some of the dough the night before. She's doing the same. And we have a lot of cookies, but we bag them up, and we give them to our family and stuff, but I bring a lot of it into work. So I told my mom today, actually I texted her and I said, I told my coworkers that we're doing our cookie baking next week, and I said, and they're over here placing orders like I'm a damn bakery. They're like, can you make this one? 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 I'm like, guys, yes, I can make them. So I will try to take some pictures of all the cookies that we make, and I will show you guys, like, after the cookie baking has been done, like all the cookies we make, because it's going to be a lot. But that's what that reminded me of. I really love it. So this one needed, hang on. That's where I picked up this notebook. I wanted to find my 1% pieces. Here it is. Okay, so my full coverage to 1%. Winter cookie party. I think I should have a before picture up here right now. I was able to put in 300 stitches on this, and I'm doing it 1/1 full cross on a 32 count easy count Lugana, and this is where I'm at with it now. So I did 300 stitches on it. I am now sitting at 500 stitches completed out of 350,700. I am at 0.14%. The total stitches needed to get this to 1% is going to be 3,307. So I have that stitch count on my board that we're going to be counting down from. But I did 300 on it. And so if you remember when I started, I had this in a diagonal. And when I pulled it out, I think I worked on it last night. And when I pulled it out, I was messaging Alara, and I told her, I said, I'm not really feeling a diagonal on this piece. Like, I don't really want to do a diagonal on this one. So I just started working in parked threads, like up here. And when it started getting too far for me to, like, because what I don't want, I like the diagonal because everything is concise. I keep covering up what I did. You can't look. What I like about the diagonal is everything is concise and you can see the progress. And that's what I like about the diagonal. But for some reason, I just was not feeling it on this one. I really wasn't. So what I don't want to happen is I don't want to end up with like this section here where it's like all scattered. I don't want that to be going across all here. And then I'm like, I did 300 stitches. And you're sitting here like, what? Where? I don't see it. So what I'm trying to do is what I did was I was working the park threads in, and then when it got to be something where it was like over here, I just parked the thread and I moved back over here, and I'm trying to just kind of fill everything in. So that's where that is. So now I'm at 0.14%. I started at 0.06, so that's pretty good. All right. And I did an upper left-hand corner start, if you couldn't figure that out. Then my whip of shame. Oh yeah, we gotta pull to vote for whip of shame. You guys get to vote on something else. We gotta vote for next month's, start voting for next month's whip of shame. My whip of shame for the month of December, I have, for the new people, I explain this to every single Flosstube because I feel like if I don't, someone's going to ask a question because they're going to be confused. So the ones who watch me all the time, you hear this over and over again. Sorry. But I like to make sure people know what I'm talking about. I have 15 projects that are over 10 years old. Every month, halfway through the month, I pull 2 of them out, and I have you guys, decide, like, you vote for 2 weeks on which one you want to see me work on the following month. And that's the one I work on. And my goal is 100 stitches a day for however many days are in that month. So for December, it's 3,100 stitches I want to get in on this piece. So the Whip of Shame for the month of December is an Old Dimensions kit called 3 Bird Watchers, designed by Martha Edwards. And that is what it's going to look. It's so cute. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. I'm using everything that came in the kit. Like I said, I am behind on the stitching. I did not get caught up. I'm hoping to get more caught up this weekend when I have more time to stitch, because we don't really have any plans this weekend except for dinner for my kid. But the stitches will get done. Do not fret. Do not fret. But I did get 205 stitches done on this, and I got the bird cross-stitched. So all the cross-stitching in my little bird here is completely done. And then I started working on the leaf that's down here. And then I remembered that I wanted to try to do back stitching as I go. So then I was like, well, let me work on this part of the window ledge here. This is half stitches. And so I was like, well, let me start working on the half stitches that are kind of surrounding him, so that once that's done, I can go ahead and back stitch the bird at least. So I got 205 stitches on him this week, or on this piece this week. So there's that. And I will keep working on this, and hopefully you guys will see a lot more progress next week. And for those of you who are not new and you know about how I was counting my stitches for last month's Whip of Shame, where I was counting a 1-for-1, where if it was a half stitch, I still counted it as 1 stitch. I'm going back to what I was doing before, where it's 2 half stitches count as 1 stitch. So if I'm working in a section that's going to have a lot of half stitches, you're actually going to see a lot more progress. I decided to do that because a lot of these old kits have a lot of half stitches. And I was like, well, if I do 1-for-1, it's going to take forever, even longer. So there's that. So the last thing I want to show you is for my bake-off stitching. So bake-off, Jessie Marie over at Jessie Marie Does Stuff created a cross-stitch game for the Great British Bake Off, because the same thing happens every episode. It's a very kind but competitive baking show. It's on Netflix and it's based in the UK. And they start off with 12 bakers, and they have a signature bake where they give them like a thing to bake, like bake brownies, and they make their version of brownies. And then they get judged if it's really, really good or very, very unique, and they did a good job on it. Paul Hollywood gives them a handshake. He does not do it all the time. So I adjusted my plans, but my new plan is that if someone gets a handshake, then I'm going to put 500 stitches in on Honeymoon Sunset. I'm going to show you Honeymoon Sunset in a minute. I have random, and then they do a technical bake where they have a mystery bake. One of the judges gives them an assignment. It's a blind judging, so the judges leave, they do their bake, they put it behind their photos, which are facing away from the judges. Judges come back and they judge the pieces and rate them like best to worst. And so I have smaller whips assigned to the first place and the last place. I will go over that next week when I actually get to work on my technical stitches, because I did not do that this week. And then whoever is eliminated and whoever is star baker, their assigned stitch counts get put in on Honeymoon Sunset. So I started off with the 12 bakers for the new season. I randomly assigned, like I basically listed them out in alphabetical order, and then I had them numbered 1 to 12. And then I did a decision wheel app, and I said, or I think I did a dice roll, and I did a D12, and I rolled the die, and whatever number that landed on, that person got the 100 stitches. And then the next one was 200, and so on and so on and so on, until I got to 1200. So that's my main stitching piece, is Honeymoon Sunset. This is charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. Artwork is by Abraham Hunter. It has 133 colors. It is $8.69 by $6.49. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. I set myself, I was saying last year that I wanted to get it to 45% by the end of 2025. I set a new goal to try to get it to 50% by the end of 2025, but the way I stitched on it this week, it's like, you're never going to get that goal. But I think I will. Okay, so I was supposed to do 1,800 stitches on it. However, that was determined on Sunday, and I only had until today. Like, well, really last night, because I don't stitch until I fill my floss tube for the day. So I was able to do 600 stitches on it, and I'm doing it 2 over 110 stitch on a 25 count easy count Lagana. And I've worked all over, so I just showed it in my whip parade. I've been showing it like every week. So I'm going to show you where I worked first. I converted it into a diagonal from the upper right hand corner, and that's where I'm at with it now. So I got my 600 stitches in on this diagonal. And what I ended up doing was I worked up this way, and then I want to say I worked down this way. So I started, I worked from the top too, so I could get that filled in. And so all I have left is this part of the diagonal. Why do I feel like I showed this up? Oh, because I showed it in my whip parade, I think. Or maybe I did my 600 all down here. I don't remember, but it was in that diagonal. I really don't remember. I filmed so many videos and showed this so many times. I don't remember where I was when I started working on it. I really don't. But once I finish this diagonal here, I'm going to come back down to the bottom. And I think what my new thing I'm going to try, I'm still staying in the diagonal because I really like how the progress is turning out. But I think what I'll do, because I work in 20 stitch wide diagonals, I think I'm going to up it to 40. I think I'm going to do 2 diagonals at a time, which would put it to, let me see. It's 10. I think it would like bring it out to like here. Yeah, pretty sure it would like bring it out to here. So it'll take longer to get through, but you'll see a lot as that fills in, you'll see a lot more progress. So I think once I get this diagonal done up here, I will go ahead and convert it to just, well, not convert because the pattern keeper only goes to 20 wide, but I'll just do 2 diagonals at a time. But yeah, so I got 600 stitches on it. I am now, I'm not going to hold it up like this, but I'm just going to show it all like this. I think you can see it. Pretty sure you can see it. I don't know if you can see. I can't see. I can barely see through the fabric. But yeah, I got a lot of it done. So I am now sitting at, now I can't see, 212,461. I don't know why I feel so off today. Let's just hold it up like this. 212,461 stitches completed out of 563,981. And I am at 37.67%. And I was thinking, I was like, you know, I could easily get this to 50% because the past 2 months I have put in a full percent on the project. So if I had done that, if I do that this month, I will go up to like 38%. It was actually 38.5% is really, if I did a full percentage every month, it would actually be at 38.5% because that's what I started this month with. And I don't know if I'm going to get a full percent this month. So might be a push towards the end of getting this to the 50%, but I really want to try. Because I updated my board with the new stitch count goal, and because once I hit my whip parade, once I posted my whip parade, I reset it to 0 for my stitch count for my board, and you'll see the new stitch goal, and I think it's definitely doable by the end of next year. Pretty sure. We'll see. If I don't hit it, it's okay. All right, so let me break for just a minute and I will be right back. Okay, I had to find my paper that I had written all my numbers on. All right, so time to update the boards and pull some projects, and then we got to do Monopoly, and then when we come back, I'll talk about all the temperatures and plans and all the things. So I did write out my new boards. I had to buy a fourth one for all the stuff, but this is the board for Monopoly. So my goal for the Monopoly stitches, you're gonna have to deal with the ring lights, sorry. I'm trying to not rub this. I want this to stay like this as much as possible. But my goal for the Monopoly stitches is to get 4,000 stitches on them. Once these pieces hit 4,000 stitches, I will replace them with a new piece. And so this is the one for the properties. So I have all the properties written on here, and I went ahead and wrote the properties in green, not really so much so that you could see them per se, but so that it's easier for me to find them, because these are not in alphabetical order. I was considering putting them out alphabetical order because I like alphabetized stuff. But then I was thinking about it, and it's like, well, when these get replaced, then I'm gonna have to like rearrange the order for the replacement, and I didn't want to do that. Now I'll be able to just erase this and reset it and put the new whip in wherever it needs to go. So let's go ahead and, oh, and one thing I have not done yet, I am going to do the project board where we get the Blue's Clues marker and cross stuff off. So my plan for that is I'm gonna have a smaller one where if I do get, when I do get finishes, we'll write them on a smaller board and track how many finishes I've done. And then the big project board, I'm going to have all of these whips, like all the whips that could potentially get worked on. I'm going to have them all written out on the big board. And then as the goal gets hit, we're going to draw through it, and we'll see how many, we'll consider these like the goals. We'll see how many goals actually got hit at the end of 2025. So, Monopoly. So this is the properties. I have another board that has like the other pieces on it. So we are at, hold on, Monopoly or temp. Okay, so Christmas Reindeer was Oriental up here. Oh, we could do Baltic too. Let's do Baltic first. So Spring in the Village on Baltic, it got 200 stitches on it. So its goal is dropping from 4,000 stitches down to 3,800. And then Christmas Reindeer on Oriental, it got 100 stitches. And like I said, these numbers are going to increase the stitch counts. So this is going from 4,000 to 3,900. The stitch counts are going to increase once properties start getting purchased and rent starts getting paid. So these numbers will start jumping up. And then on, let me see what else. Oh, the sewing desk here. This one got 100 stitches. So this number 6, is dropping from 4,000 to 3,900. And then that was 1, 2, 3, 4, but the cat had to do 100 stitches on the Pacific property. And that one, where is it? It's down here. Can you see it? Yes. That one is Halloween letters. That one got 100 stitches on it. So this goal is also dropping to 3,900. Had to think about which whips were for Monopoly on here. So that one is that. And then I don't need to do any board update for the second Monopoly board. I just wanted to show you what it looks like. I'm trying to be careful so I don't mess it up too much. Somebody has suggested using a wet erase marker for the stuff that wasn't going to get changed frequently. I got wet erase markers and I did not like how they were looking. It was like very weird looking on it. I didn't like them. So I'm sticking with dry erase for right now. So this is my other Monopoly board. So I have the railroads up here, the utilities here, and all of it has 4,000 stitches. Even my special spots, which is visiting jail, in jail, free parking, and go. And then down here, I have 4 community chest cards that gives me a new start. That is separate from my new start pull. And I just went ahead and did 4,000 stitch goals on them just to keep the Monopoly stitches all the same. So when I'm keeping all of my cards that I wrote out for the last game, and if I come across a card that has a whip written on it already from when I was playing the last time, I'm just going to cross it out and write a different new start on it, and we'll just keep cycling through those cards. Temperatures. So for my temperature board, the bottom half is empty because it's going to be filled in once I count all the votes up after voting ends. And we will have the new temperatures written in down here for the ones that you guys vote on. My temperature goals are 2,000 stitches. And the green I wrote because I didn't want to start with 0, because you don't start counting at 0. You start counting at 1. But then I was like, well, that's going to throw me off. So I wrote the numbers, so it's numbered, but then I wrote the temperature it's assigned to in green. So these have a goal of 2,000 stitches. So for the low temperatures, once once the ones that y'all vote for, once these hit 1,700 stitches, then we'll pull new ones for you guys to vote on. And you'll have like 1 week to vote for that because it's going to be too much if I try to extend it out. But temperature stitching. I worked on Artist Kitchen for 100 stitches. So this is dropping from 2,000 to 1,900. And then I worked on Harry Potter Stitch Your Own Adventure for Lachlan. That one got 200 stitches. So this one is going from 2,000 down to 1,800. And then I worked on White Tiger Ghost for 100 stitches. If the numbers are getting thrown off for you, I don't think it really matters for you guys, honestly. I don't think you really care. But I do have the temperatures in green over here. So this is going from 2,000 to 1,900. And then Mother Nature Spring got 100 stitches. And this is dropping from 2,000 to 1,900. There we go. So there's that. I really actually have 5 boards total because I do have a smaller board. Hang on. I do have a smaller board that I have a couple things on. And then my last big board is my focus pieces. So the top is my full coverage, and this is the stitch counts that are needed to get them to 1%. And then this one, this section here is my non-full coverage. The goal is to get it to 4,000 stitches, or get 4,000 stitches on it. So that's what we'll be counting down from. So the full coverage to 1% has different numbers, which is, stop focusing on my face, has different numbers on it. So that'll be fun seeing those numbers drop. And then my new starts, I will have each week, like I said, I will pick one from the bin, and until I hit 5. Once I hit 5, I'm going to pull out of a basket from these 5 and rotate through them until they get 3,000 stitches. And then once that happens, it comes out of this. We can use it for other things like Monopoly or temperature, and I will replace it with another new start. And then down here at the very bottom, I have my Honeymoon Sunset. My new goal is 70,130 stitches. That will get me to 50%. So that's what we're going to start counting down from, is 70,130. Okay, let's go ahead and get these numbers written on here. So I did 300 stitches, so my full coverage to 1%. I did Winter Cookie Party, and I did 300 stitches on it. So to get it to 1%, I need to do 3,307 stitches. So this is going from 3,307 down to 3,007. And then for the non-full coverage focus to 4K, I worked on Coffee Gnome here, and I did, what was it, 200? Yeah, I did 200 stitches on this. So this goal is dropping from 4,000 down to 3,800. And then my new start, like I said when I was showing the Friends frame, I didn't really count the stitches. I don't know exactly how many I did, so we're just going to go with 100. Not really worried about it. This thing will be done before the 3,000 stitch goal is met, but we'll go ahead and count it down anyway. This is dropping from 3,000 down to 2,900. And then for Honeymoon Sunset, I did 600 stitches. And so this goal is dropping from 70,130 down to 60. Wrote that wrong. 69,530. I think that's doable by the end of next year. Granted, I did not get that many stitches on it this year. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, my last board is my little one. So on this little one, I have my Whip of Shame. So this will change out every month. Then these two will also change out. I don't have any goals on here because these are my two technical stitches. I did not get to work on them this week, so we're not going to update those. But I'm just going to add, like, we're just going to see how many stitches. And these numbers kind of reset too. I just reset everything. But we'll see how many stitches it takes to get them finished. Because that's what the technical stitches are. They're smaller pieces that are close to a finish, so I work on them as technical stitches until they're done. Once it gets done, I will replace it with something else. I already have something lined up to replace this one once it gets done, and I already have something lined up to replace that one when it gets done. And then my last one on here is my kids' piece, Yippee-Ki-Yay. So once this is done, it'll just come off. And right now, I do not have anything planned to like be a replacement for that. So 3 Bird Watchers is the only one that I'm counting stitches prior to my whip parade because that was like a month-long thing. So 3 Bird Watchers, my previous progress was 556. I did another 205 stitches on it. So this is going from 556 to 761. My goal for the month is 3,100 stitches because of 31 days in December. I was at 2,355 stitches left to complete the goal. That is dropping down to 2,150. And then Yippee-Ki-Yay is also one that I'm carrying those stitches over from before the whip parade. So far, this is a combination of cross stitching and back stitching that I've done total on here. It's going up from 5,109 to 5,409. And then my goal for this was my stitch count in Pattern Keeper, and then I added 1,000 stitches for back stitching. I don't know if that is accurate. So this could be an incorrect count because I have no idea how much back stitching there is. But we're just going to count it from this, and then we'll just see how far off we were. But right now, the goal is dropping from 2,355 down to 2,055. And I feel like that number is way off. I think that the back stitching goal should have been a lot more. But those are all my boards. Okay. Let's go ahead and pick my full coverage and non-full coverage for the week. So I think this one is my full coverage to get to 1%, I think. I don't know. We'll find out in a second when I pull it out. I don't remember which basket is which. It is non-full coverage. Hive rules. This one's my full coverage. So I have 5 in each one, and I wrote them bigger on index cards so that I didn't have tiny little pieces of paper I was trying to find. And then the full coverage is going to be Rainbow Castle. And then I'm going to go ahead and pick, in this one here, the bright pink is the new start, and then the blue are all the whips of shame. We need to go ahead and pull 2 contenders for January's whip of shame. So I'm going to go ahead and pull 2 out. One thing that I do want to say is I did state that if, hang on, before I pick this out, I did say in my one of the videos I was talking about, I do not, if it's a whip of shame, I do not want to work on it as another whip of shame for 4 months. So what I did was I did Whip of Shame 2025. I listed all of the whips of shame out, and I reminded myself on here, once picked, out of running for 4 months. So I wrote the letters for January through December, and then I X'd through the months so I would remember when, which months it was disqualified for. So 3 bird watchers was the whip of shame for the month of December. So I X'd through January, February, March, April. Riding the wave was last month in November. So it would have been December, January, February, March. So the ones that are out of the running for January are going to be Goodnight Bears, Riding the Wave, 3 bird watchers, and Walking to Town. So let's see which 2. Now, I do have a whip of shame as my in jail Monopoly piece. The piece that I have for it, I did replace it. I am okay with working on that for Monopoly and as a whip of shame because it's a really big dimensions kit. I like it a lot. I just haven't worked on it. And it really could use 7,000 stitches. The 4,000 for Monopoly plus 3,000 for the month. So first one up, I picked from the wrong thing. Wow. I was picking from the wrong basket. Okay. Whip of shame. Correct one. First one up is going to be, oh my fucking God. Whole Lotta Latte. If you know, you know. The second one is going to be In Her Garden. Okay, so I'm going to break. We're going to play around a Monopoly, and when I come back, we're going to go over all the Monopoly pieces, temperature pieces, bake-off, weekly polls. I'll show you what their starting points for those, and I'll show you the whips of shame contenders for January before I go over the plans. So I'll be right back. Okay, so let's play round of Monopoly. This will be round number 2 for the game of 2025. And I have all of my pieces in their places. So the cat, just a reminder, the cat is on side 2 of community chest, or community chest on side 2. The dog is back. The rest are out of sight. The dog is on St. Charles, and the penguin and the duck are both on Baltic. We are still going around the board for the first time, so any properties that are landed on are going to be 100 stitches. If you want to play along at home, there are a lot of people that are doing this. You can play along at home. I'm doing all the work. You just have to do the stitching. Some people will pick a token, and they will do whatever stitches will that token ends up being required to do. So it could be 100 stitches, it could be 400, it could be 600. We'll see as the game goes on. So some people will just have a token assigned to a piece, and they have that dedicated to Monopoly to do extra stitches on. Some people are like me and they have a lot of projects, so they'll also have whips assigned to every property, and they will do whatever stitches I'm doing on their Monopoly properties. Some will have stitches assigned to the colors, so they'll have one for this orange group, they'll have one for the red group, etc. And some will have stitches assigned, or whips assigned to sides. So they'll have one whip for side 1, one whip for side 2, side 3, side 4, etc. And so you can do it however you want. You can post your progress on Instagram. You can use the hashtag Jen's Monopoly Sal. I know that they're doing I keep hearing that they're doing away with following hashtags. I don't know when that's going to happen, but you can also tag me on Instagram. I don't post, but I do go on there. I keep forgetting to heart the photos I look at, though. I don't know why I forget. But you can tag me on Instagram and show me what you've done. Like I said, I don't post because I feel like it spoils it for Flosstube, but I do go on there and I look at stuff. And so my handle on Instagram is Jen the Caffeinated Crafter _ between all of the words. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. I went through and I hand wrote chance and community chest cards to kind of coincide more along with stitching things. And so I have like 13 of each card. And so I'm just carrying these cards over from last year's game. So like I was saying before, if someone lands on community chest and I pull and because I ended up having 2 new starts for Monopoly last year. So if I pull one of those cards and the whip is already written on it, we're just going to cross it out and write a different new start on it. And then I will rotate through those as they come up in community chest. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a cat. And these dice, I have to say it again. These dice, look how cute they are. It's hard to see. There we go. Move my desk lamp. Pay no attention to my wrinkly skin. But these dice were stitched for me by Andrew, the runner stitcher, and he sent them to me. Aren't they so cute? He did such a good job with these. I love it. So I'm using these now instead of regular dice. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the cat. And I got to move the board around because it doesn't go up. My camera doesn't go up high enough. All right, so the cat rolled a 7, so I got to reach around here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me make sure I counted that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, because I can't really see. All right, so the cat landed on Illinois. And again, this is the first time around the board, so this stuff is only going to be 100 stitches until they pass go, and then the fun starts. Let me slide this up. Oh no, I'm going to have to move the camera, the actual camera too. Okay, so, but we can see the dog. He's over here on St. Charles. We'll go ahead and do this one before I start moving. All right, the dog rolled a 4. Can you see the 4? It's right here. I can't, so my camera, like the holder is like blocking this part right here. So let me just slide this over to make sure. Yeah, okay. I wanted to make sure it could be seen. All right, so the dog rolled a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pennsylvania Railroad. So this one will get 100 stitches. Oh, good. We'll be able to update the other board next week. Okay, let me slide this camera back so we can see the front part of the board. There we go. Because the last 2 pieces are on Baltic. Okay, so the duck is next. Look at this little rubber duck. Look how cute he is. He's so adorable. All right, so the duck got rolled 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Vermont. I think the cat is trying to race around the board to pass go first because last year the thimble did that and got most of the properties. Okay, and then the last one is this cute little penguin. He's so adorable. All right, penguin 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the penguin, somebody was asking because they had never played Monopoly before, what the difference was between in jail and on jail. This is the difference right here. So when you're sent to jail, you're in jail. You can't leave until you roll doubles to get out. And if you're playing the actual game, then you have to pay money to get out if you don't roll doubles. If you roll doubles on your next turn, or you have 3 times to do that, then you get out of jail without having to pay anything. But if you don't, then you have to pay money to get out. In the stitching game, you have a stitch penalty to pay, and if you don't roll doubles, then you pay that stitch penalty. And then if you land on jail like the Penguin did, you're just visiting. You're just there as a visitor. You're saying hey. You're saying hey to your loser husband who's in jail for something. I don't know. But you're just visiting. Hang on. I was trying to think of how to write it on here because that's just visit. Okay. So I have two separate pieces for my jail. I have one for when you're in jail. That's one of my whips of shame. And then I have a separate piece for when you're just visiting jail. You're just passing through. You're just saying, hey, his next turn, he can move on. If somebody was in jail, they would have to roll doubles in order to get out. So I'm going to go ahead and pull all these whips and show you what is going to be worked on. Nice, easy stitching week for Monopoly this week. Each piece is only going to get 100 stitches. I do have to double check on the visiting jail. I think that might be 200. I got to double check on that. But nice, easy stitching week for Monopoly this week. All right, let me go get all my stuff together and I will be right back. Okay, so we're back and I'm standing up because this is my new start bin. So in here are all of the pieces that are ready to be started. So we are going to pull one at random. Just going to reach in and pull one out. This will be my new start for the week. This one here. I have no idea what it is. We're going to toss it over there. Okay. Move that out of the way. Slide back in here. Okay. Let's go. Let me show you real quick the two whips of shame that are up for voting for the next couple weeks. As soon as I find them, where'd they go? There they are. Okay, so it was A Whole Lot of Latte versus In Her Garden. Whole Lot of Latte. Technically, this is not really a true whip of shame because it is not over 10 years old. I realized that way after the fact, but I thought it was really old because it was copyright a long time ago. But this is A Whole Lot of Latte. It's a dimensions kit. It drives me batty. I really like it. I like how it looks and everything, and I was so excited to start it, but it drives me nuts to work on it. And I don't know what I did with my board, like that I show pieces on. I'll just hold it up like this with the bag behind it. I don't know what I did with my board. But this is my starting point with it. 3,000 stitches, just FYI, will not get this. Actually, it's 3,100 stitches because January has 31 days, I think. This 3,000 stitches will not get this to a finish. So don't vote for it because of that, because there's still stitching. This cup is done. It just needs to be back stitched, but this cup needs this done. This cup needs all that done. This one just needs the steam. This one needs to be finished. The border needs to be brought down and around. All of them need to be back stitched, and then the words A Whole Lot of Latte have to be stitched down here. So, but that's the starting point. It is stitched on a 14 count black Aida. The colors are really fun. Like I said, I do like the look of it, but it just drives me nuts when I work on it. That's why it's a whip of shame. But if it gets picked, I will work on it. And then the other one up for voting is a Dimensions Gold Collection. So another Dimensions kit, but this one's a gold collection. And this one is called In Her Garden, and it is designed by Sandra Cook. That is what she's going to look like when she is done. And she is being stitched on an 18 count ivory Aida. And that is my starting point with her. Very pathetic start. This one is really old. I don't know how old though. It says copyright 2003. Typically I would buy them like when they came out. That's why I thought that A Whole Lot of Latte was purchased when it said copyright. I don't remember what year that was though. And then I would do a little bit on them, and then I would put them down and walk away. But this is my starting point with her. So I had started in the middle there, and I've been working like kind of all around. But that's my starting point with her. So you can just leave in the comment section down below which one you would like to see worked on. I will show this again next Friday in my next Flosstube, just to remind you guys which ones to vote on. So you have In Her Garden. You can just say the woman, Whole Lotta Latte. You can say the coffee cups. I will figure it out because they're so different. If they were very similar, I would definitely say you need to clarify which one. But they're pretty different. So one's on Ivory Ada, one's on Black Ada. One, I could care, like, not that I could care less, but I'm okay either way working on it. This one, it does bug me, but I do really like the finished results, so I do want to get it done. Neither one of them will be a finish at the end of the month, so that I would not use as a judgment call. This one would be closer to a finish at the end of the month, I will say that, but that is the two you are voting on, In Her Garden or A Whole Lotta Latte. So you can leave your vote in the comment section down below, and I will show the starting points one more time. So this one is In Her Garden, and this one is A Whole Lotta Latte. Okay, let me put these back in their bags. So I'll keep these out so I can show them again in the next Flosstube. Voting will stay open until the end of December. Let me pull my calendar up real quick. I was a little, I feel like I'm mid-month basically, but I am a little early with pulling these because, well, sort of, but not really. So I'm going to end voting, not at the end of the month. I'm going to end voting on, let me see. I'm going to announce the winner on December the 26th. That's going to be my next, that's going to be my last Flosstube of December. The next one will be in January after that. So I will end voting on, you can still vote on the 26th, but once I get home, I get home like in the late afternoon, and that's when I film my Flosstube, is after I get home from work that Thursday. So I will make sure all the votes that have been stated have been counted up through that point, and then I will announce the winner of the Whip of Shame for the month of January. And then once January starts, I will start working on that. So my new start that I pulled out, and I said, I have no idea what this is. I know it's a full coverage. Oh, Cake Shop. So when I pull a full coverage new start, I am not going to include it in the full coverage to 1% focus. I'm just going to do the 3,000 stitch new start goal, and then it can still go into other stuff. Like I can still put it into temperature stitching. I can still put it into Monopoly as a replacement piece or what have you. My idea for the full coverage to 1% is once all 18 of those projects get to 1%, then I'm going to up it to 3%. And that's when any new starts I've done that are full coverage will get thrown into the mix. And my goal will be to get anything under 3% up to 3%. I gotta find it. Cake Shop, here we go. So this is a retired chart from Pain Free Crafts. Artwork is by Steve Crisp. And it's 600 by 450, and that is what it's going to look like when it's done. That's so fun. I love it. I will be doing an upper left-hand corner start, so it will be started up here with the pictures. And I'm doing this on some kind of Aida, or I don't know if it's Aida, even weave, I don't know. It was some fabric I got from a shop on AliExpress. But this will be the full size. I'm gonna do it 1/1 full cross. This will be the full size. I have it like kind of all marked out, so I knew where to cut the fabric. And that's where it's gonna be. It's very thin fabric, but I'm doing a couple other pieces on this fabric and it works out just fine. So that'll be my new start for the week. And then I have everything in piles here. So let's just do the temperature stitching real quick because that's what's on top of this pile. So the temperatures starting with the 13th are projected to be 76. We're going to get warm again. So starting tomorrow, it's going to be 76, 80, 81, 82, 81, 79, 79. And that goes through the 19th. So the one that is assigned to 0 is from Cute Bordery, the same one I had the coffee gnome from. And this is Hot Cocoa Gnome. I do have this in Pattern Keeper, so I actually could give you a percentage. I don't have all these gnomes in Pattern Keeper, it's just a couple of them. I can give you a percentage though of where I'm at with it. And this is my starting point with it. I am currently sitting at 1,576 stitches done out of 5,627, and I am at 28.01% done with the cross stitching. There is back stitching that goes with this, and I did do some color changes because I know that the reds, I didn't like them because they were too orangey, so I changed them to what I thought looked better for this buffalo plaid look going on. So I did do some color changes, but I honestly cannot tell you which colors I changed. I don't remember if I changed the browns too, or if it was just the reds. I really, really do not remember. But this is assigned to the number 0, which comes up once. So it will get 100 stitches. I don't know if I'm going to work in the hat because those hats are huge and they're not like a whole lot of colors. So I don't want to get like bored with it. But anyway, that'll get 100 stitches. And then the one that's assigned to number 1 is Artist Kitchen. I showed that one to you already. I'll just show you the cover photo real quick. This one here, that's the one I got to pull I got to frog the window frame that I had done. Like I had gone up and like across the top, and I got to frog all that out. So I'll work on that, but it will also get, its temperature came up twice. And so this one will get 200 stitches. So that's fun. And then the next one is assigned to number 2. And that one is Sweet Bee. And this is by Stitchrobia. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. And I'm doing this one on a 28 count. I don't know why I'm trying to tell you the fabric because I'm going to go over that when I show it. So let me just ignore that. But that's my starting point with this. This one came up one time, so this one will get 100 stitches. I don't know if I'm going to continue with, I might try to finish off this border here. We'll see how many stitches that ends up being. And then I'm thinking whatever is left in, oh no, I'll just work on this border because it's going to come down and then there's like a drop of honey that's below there. So I think I might try to finish that, maybe. Unless I change my mind when I pull it out, and then you'll see. You'll see next week. But this one will get 100 stitches. And then number 6 is Mother Nature's Spring. I showed that one already, so I'm just going to show you the cover photo. This one here from Just Cross Stitch of April of 2023. And this one, this temperature came up one time, so this one will get another 100 stitches. Hi, Gracie. I have my blanket that I cover my lap with because I get cold sometimes. I have it sitting on the back of the couch and she's over there making biscuits. And then the last one is the number 9. This one came up twice. And this is Villa Lorna. This was charted by Megan at Stitching Moon Designs on Etsy. She also has a Flosstube. And this is my starting point. So I had started, just real quick, in case you missed it during the WIP parade, I had started doing this in Royal Rose, and I got halfway done and I was like, I'm really not digging it. So I started working in all the parked threads going backwards because there was a lot of the same color parked because I was doing tower by tower like you do for Royal Rose. And I was frankly getting kind of tired of it. So what I was doing before I had set it aside for a bit is I've been working the parked threads in where I can to try to get as much of that thread stitched in as possible. And so that's what I'll be doing. I'll be working in, I'll probably just get through some of these parked threads here. There's a lot there. So, but this is gonna get 200 stitches on it. And I am starting this one off at 10,200 stitches completed out of 203,040, and I am at 5.02%. But this is, I think right here marks the halfway point, right there. My fabric is folded. This is not the edge of the fabric. That's the fabric. So yeah. So I'll be working on getting those park threads worked in, so then I can go back and like keep working on it. So that one will get 200 stitches. And just as a reference to myself, in case I need this information later, Artist Kitchen, I don't think I'm going to need this information, but just to say it, Artist Kitchen, I am starting off at 1,918 stitches out of 182,696, and I am at 1.05%. Okay, so I will also be working on Yippee-Ki-Yay for my son. I didn't feel like pulling that out because I just showed it. And my Whip of Shame, 3 Bird Watchers. I'm going to try to see if I can get this caught up, or at least almost completely caught up. And then for Bake Off, oh, the stuff's down there, so I'll wait on that. Okay, for Monopoly. Okay, so the cat landed on Illinois Avenue, and Illinois Avenue is Apple Pie Harvest. This is by Charting Creations. Artwork is by Janet Kresskamp. It is, how big is it? 475 by 356. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. And this is my starting point with it. So I really like doing diagonals, but I also like changing up how I stitch on things. And so my goal in 23 was to finish page 1, which I did. Let me get this fuzz off of here. It looks like I'm missing a stitch and I'm not. There we go. So my goal in 2023 was to finish page 1, which I did. And man, that looks really good. So since page 2 has already been started, because I worked on pages 1 and 2, like I was working kind of all over the place, and then I wanted to make my goal to complete page 1. I think I might do this one page by page, at least for right now. There's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 4 is 28 pages, 28 full pages, and then bits of another 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then like tiny slivers on the side and the bottom of like, what did I say, 12 more pages? I mean like slivers. So when I get to those edges, I will just include the bottom portions. Like, hang on, here's my, see what I mean? Like down here, tiny slivers along the side and the bottom. So when I get to those pages, I'll just include those slivers with those pages. But I think I might try to go ahead and do this one page by page. And if there's like with the jars here, like when I had done this blue, I just went ahead and carried it down a little bit. I'll probably end up doing that too. But this will get 100 stitches for the cat landing on go for the first time around the board. And I am starting off at 8,970 stitches done out of 169,100, and I am at 5.30%. So I will work on this page 2 for the 100 stitches. So I'll probably do one that's kind of further away, and then maybe, yeah, I'll just do one that's like the whole thing, a before photo. Okay, and then the cat landed on, no, that was the cat. The dog landed on Pennsylvania Railroad, and that one is Stacked Teacups. This one is Dimensions Gold Collection Petite. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. And this was a 2024 start, and it does not have a lot of work on it. But this is my starting point. I'm using everything that came in the kit. That's my starting point. And since, again, first time around the board, I almost dropped my bag. First time around the board, this will get 100 stitches. I'm not sure where I'm going to work at, but you'll see 100 more stitches on this next week. So that was the dog. The duck landed on Vermont, and Vermont is All Hallows Eve. Oh, there's my board. It was under my whips. Okay, so the dog landed on Vermont, and Vermont is All Hallows Eve by Erica Michaels. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. And this is my starting point. I have some of the called fors, but the black, I'm just doing 310. I think the white, I'm doing like 3865 or B5200 or something like that. And then there's some DMCs. Let me see. I have some of the called fors. I think I need to get more, so I might have to work around that. Or maybe I just did DMC conversions. I might have done that because there's no way. I don't have all the threads, but I've already done some of the colors. So I think I'm doing DMC conversions for most of it. I have to. Anyway, that's my starting point. I might just save myself the headache of trying to figure out if I was doing DMC or not and just work on the letters of the like little crossword thing and just work in the black. But anyway, this one will get 100 stitches. I have to like open up the pattern and like look to see what I ended up doing. And then the last one was the Penguin, who landed on jail. So it's just visiting. And that one is actually one of my new starts from the Monopoly game from 2024. And this is Village Inn by Mill Hill. This is the Buttons and Beads winter series, the Christmas Village. This one is Village Inn. And good thing I found my board. That is my starting point with it. So this one will get 100 stitches on it. Okay, so we did temperature, we did Monopoly. I showed you my new start for the week. I showed you the focus pieces. Okay, my non-full coverage for the week, we'll see how many stitches I can get on it, is going to be Hive Rules by Primrose Cottage Stitches. And that is what it's going to look like when it's done. And that is my starting point. My fabric is all folded up, so don't panic. I have enough room. But that's my starting point with it. So this area is almost done. So I'm going to work on finishing this section before I move down to the next one, because I did a top area start. So this part is completely done. So I'm going to finish this one and then I'll move down. We'll see how many stitches I can get on this. And then my full coverage to get to 1% is going to be Rainbow Castle. I got the max color version. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is by Ciro Marchetti. It's 550 by 738. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. Somebody had commented one time about how saturated it looks because they thought it was like my screen. No, that's how saturated it like that's how it is. Like every time you pull up a photo of it, that's the color. Like it's a bright piece, sort of, in parts of it. Anyway, this is my starting point with it. Right here. This corner is not bright, but there's a lot of bright colors in it. So I'm starting off at 2,898 stitches completed out of 405,900. I am at 0.71%. So to get this to, oh, I have it right here. So to get this to 1%, I need to do 1,161 stitches. And I'm doing it 1/1 full cross. So we will see how much of this I can get done. Technically, this is my quote-unquote longer week for stitching because I'm filming on Thursday and then I don't film again until next Friday. So this is my longer week where I almost have like a full week to stitch. So we'll see how much of that I can get done. Okay, the last part to go over is my bake-off. So for the bake-off, I am going to continue with week 6 because I did not finish my bake-off stitching from what I was set on Sunday. So for the bake-off, I needed to do 1,800 stitches on Honeymoon Sunset. I'm not pulling it back out of the bag again, but I was able to do 600 of it, so I still need to do 1,200 stitches on Honeymoon Sunset. I would like to try to get my bake-off stitching completed this week so I can move on to week 7. And then for my technical stitches, I take the person who came in first and the person who came in last, and I use Jessie Marie's formula of N being number of bakers, N times 25 for last place, and N times 50 for first place. Once the bakers drop below 6, so like this week and next week, I'm going to use this formula. Once it gets to 5, sorry, I'm going to increase it to N times 50 for last place and N times 100 for first place. Because what I'm trying to do is get these projects finished. But to determine which ones get worked on, I take the person who is in last place and first place, and I look at what stitch counts are assigned to them. Sorry. And if they're an odd stitch count, I have a whip assigned to the odd ones, like if it's 100, 300, 500. And if it's an even numbered person, like 200, 400, 600, I have a different whip assigned to them and to those people. So for week number 6, the person who had come in last place had an odd stitch count. So the odd stitch count piece is Bake the World, A Better Place by Franny Ritter Designs. And that's what it's going to look like when it's done. I am about halfway done. When I pulled this piece to be a technical stitch to get it done, I was a very poor judge in how close it was to a finish, because it was not. But this is my starting point. So from here over is completed. And all I have left is the words world and place need to be stitched and backstitched. I have to finish the cupcake, and by finishing the cupcake, I mean like finish the cross stitching in the top of the cupcake here, and then it needs to be backstitched and beaded just like these. I think these hearts need to be backstitched. I need to put a couple beads in because it all basically matches there. And then there's one more cupcake, well, 2 more hearts with more beads going up and across the top. And then one more cupcake to be stitched, back stitched and beaded. So that is my starting point with that one. And this one, with the person coming in last place, this one will get 175 stitches in on it. So there's that. So obviously that will not get that finished. I do know what the stitch count is for week number 7 once I get to it. So I'm hoping that will get it done or almost done. And then the one who came in first place had an even stitch count. So that was N times, N times, the number of bakers remaining is 7. So it was 7 times 25 to get 175, and then 7 times 50 to get 350. And my even one is Calendar Girls September. And this is from Little House Needleworks from 2014. And this is my starting point with her. So she will get 350 stitches. And I'll have to, pretty sure that this part here is completely done. I just need to do her. Yeah, all of this part is completed. I just need to do her. So she will get 350 stitches. I think that's everything. Pretty sure that's everything. Yeah. Okay, so if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below. Don't forget to vote on the Whip of Shame that you want to see me work on in the month of January. And I think that's it. So, and don't forget to vote if you have not already voted on which ones you want to see me to work on for the low temperatures starting after, like, I'll start doing the low temperatures with the next Flosstube. I'll do highs and lows. I wanted to just say what my focus was going to be, like the orders, kind of what I was going to work on first to make sure I had stuff done. My focuses for the stitching this week are going to be Monopoly and my Bake Off, because I want to get that stuff done. So Monopoly and Bake Off for sure. And then after that, I'll worry about the temperatures. And then after that is when I will worry about the weekly stuff. And of course, my Whip of Shame, I got to focus on that too. I mean, I want to work on all of it, but my priority, that's what I was trying to say. My priority is going to be Bake Off, then Monopoly, then temperature, and then the weekly. But I want to try to, at least with the stuff that doesn't have a stitch count assignment, like the weekly stitches, I want to try to maybe at least get 100 stitches so it's something rather than nothing. We'll see how everything goes. So now I'm going to sign off. So take care, happy stitching, get a lot of stitches in, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.